of those most affected from the tariff.
Also, find out about road work around Manhattan and when the city expects certain projects to finish up.
After a rainy summer, the City of Manhattan plans to improve the levee system to decrease the risk of future flooding.
It's another sunny day coming your way here on Channel 8 News. I'm Bill Bernard.
To Channel 8 News, I'm Dayton Bossard.
And I'm Bernie Harkins.
This semester of Channel 8 News, each episode will feature an in-depth reporting segment from our MHK all-day reporting team.
This week, Miriam Chamberlain, Rachel Hogan, and Monica Diaz took a look at how the Trump administration trade war with China is impacting local farmers. Miriam?
To start off today's special segment, reporter Rachel Hogan headed out to Raleigh, Kansas to discuss short-term and long-term effects of the trade war.
Every day, every week on farms is different. It's what makes the job fun for one farmer in Raleigh.
That's one of the things about farming. You don't have necessarily a day in the life. It changes as the season goes on, so you're always doing different jobs.
But over the last year, a consistent challenge for farmers has been increased tariffs imposed by China in the trade war with the United States. These tariffs restrict the flow of crops, reducing farm income.
Exports are the lifeblood of agriculture in Kansas, and we rely on free trade to move that product along. If not, the prices suffer, and when our prices suffer, our farm income suffers, and it's at the lowest it's been in decades.
As the war rages on and exports to China decrease, farmers feel the financial pain.
Farmers are good patriots, but we don't want to be martyrs. And it seems like maybe we're being made into martyrs in this situation.
While trade relations are negotiated, farmers sign up for government aid. The ultimate goal, however, is free trade.
So we just want to see those markets open without any restrictions to China or Mexico or Canada, any of our trading partners for that matter.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says it's a matter of working out an agreement that prevents a trade deficit in the long term.
We could probably do a simple, easy deal and claim victory, but 2 years or 5 years from now, we'd be right back in the same place. And President Trump doesn't want to do that to farmers and to manufacturers here in America. We want to protect them.
The farming community is divided in its outlook.
We're approaching this trade war with optimism. China especially has not been a real great partner, has been kind of a bad actor when it comes to trade and some of the tariffs and regulations they impose. And
I think we're going to lose long term in this if this goes on much longer. I believe we're going to lose for decades.
In-person trade talks are set to resume in October. In Raleigh, Kansas, I'm Rachel Hogan for Channel 8 News.
China's Tariff Commission of State Council announced that it will exempt 16 types of U.S. imports from additional tariffs. The two lists will be effective for a year from September 17, 2019 through September 16, 2020. Today marks 441 days since the U.S. and China trade war has begun. MHK All Day reporter Monica Diaz had the chance to sit down and talk with the Assistant Director of Agricultural Economics about how the trade war with China is impacting Kansas farmers. Monica?
Assistant Professor in Agricultural Economics. Joseph, I have a quick question for you. How is the trade war with China affecting Kansas farmers?
So the initial effects are obviously negative because China has imposed tariffs on many U.S. agricultural goods, including goods that are really important to Kansas, so especially soybeans and sorghum. On the livestock side, I think the cattle industry had hoped that China would be a major market for U.S. cattle and U.S. beef, and that has sort of flipped around, that U.S. beef exports to China have gone away. So all those things are negative, and the Trump administration has come out around and said that they will compensate farmers for the losses imposed by the trade war. And so there's kind of, at least in the short run, this trade-off between the fact that we've lost this major market, China, and then some other places that have also imposed tariffs on U.S. agricultural goods because of what the administration did in initiating this trade war. And then there's the other side, the positive side, which is that the government has stepped in and tried to sort of make farmers whole to some degree or another. And there's a significant debate right now in the agricultural community about, is the aid that the government's providing commensurate with the negative effects of the trade war.
And do you think even if they supply that aid, Do you think that there may be another market that these Kansas farmers can reach out to, since we are over 400 days so far since we've been through this trade war? Do you think there's another outlet for them outside of just China?
Absolutely. So what has happened as a result of this trade war is that global agricultural trade has shifted around. So if we think about soybeans, maybe as a simple example, right? Our major competitor is Brazil. A lot more Brazilian soybeans are going to China. And so U.S. soybeans are going to other countries. That shift is already happening. And the longer that the trade war goes on, the more those shifts kind of get locked in. And we see sort of a restructuring of agricultural trade. Now, does that shift make up for the loss of China? No, it doesn't. It helps, but it doesn't get us sort of all of the way back to where we were.
And do you think that even if we fix the solution, we come up with something, do you think that we will fix those relations completely?
It's very difficult to see a world in which this doesn't sort of help out everyone else, other countries in the long term, that there are new commercial relationships that are established, say, between Brazil and China that wouldn't have been established in the absence of the trade war. So it's very difficult once you make a change like this, once we sort of reorganize everything because of this initial conflict, to sort of get back to where we were. I don't think we ever get back to where we were before the trade war began.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for just talking about this and kind of giving us some more depth. That's all we have time for today. So back to you, Dayton and Bernie. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Monica. Tune in next week for a special segment on mental health and suicide prevention.
The construction on Manhattan Avenue has been a daily headache for some Manhattan commuters. Channel 8 reporter Molly Hackett has information about the project timeline.
On Manhattan Avenue began last spring and was projected to be done before the school year started. But the project is currently in the second of 3 phases the city of Manhattan is focusing on.
This project is primarily to address safety issues with this section of road. We're adding a 3rd lane at the intersections, and hopefully to reduce rear-end collisions and just make traffic flow easier.
The initial goal was to finish the project before the school year started, but the rain during the spring semester derailed the progress. While the weather was out of the construction crew's hands, the students are still frustrated with the progress.
I just feel like the city should have done this sooner. Yeah, because it's affecting students and staff, and they can't really get to campus. So if they live that way.
And for students who live here in the Manhattan Avenue neighborhood, it has caused many issues in their daily commutes.
So I decided to see how long it would take to drive the detour instead of the normal 10 seconds that it would take to cover this stretch of road. Taking the detour took me just over 5 minutes, but that can change with traffic conditions based on the day. For Mark Rowland, he has been one of the people to suffer from the delays.
The construction really affects my day-to-day commute and makes it a lot longer.
While the city understands the frustrations that commuters face during the construction, Hayes asks for people to watch for signage for safety. In Manhattan, Kansas, I'm Molly Hackett, Channel 8 News.
While the construction is set to finish by the end of October, Hayes asked that drivers keep an eye out for construction workers and slow down while driving around Manhattan in the meantime.
Kansas State University's Center for Students' Involvement has worked up even more opportunities to get involved for the semester. In fact, the number of student organizations on campus has swelled to almost 540 different clubs to get involved with. The number is still growing, but many organizations don't realize how easy it is to start your own organization. Center for Student Involvement Director Kelly Ferris has more details.
To start a student organization, it's pretty simple. So for an independent student organization, it takes 5 student members and a constitution, and that's it.
Later, we'll take a look at upcoming construction of the Morris Family Multicultural Student Center on K-State's campus and the improvements on the levees to decrease future flooding concerns.
The best-kept secret in Manhattan is not a secret anymore. I'm Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Wildcats, and welcome to JP Sports Grill. With daily chef-inspired specials, a full bar, and a diverse menu that has something for everyone, this place is guaranteed to impress. JP Sports Grill, your new favorite spot.
We are a family that does not tolerate discrimination of any kind.
A family that represents a diverse and eclectic population.
We are a family that believes
that diversity, inclusion,
and sportsmanship
are expectations.
We are a family that is supportive and seeks to promote a positive and welcoming environment.
A family that treats people with respect and dignity.
An empowered family.
Who empowers family.
We are
family, diverse and together.
Oh, it's been like the best adventure of my life. Best, hands down. Don't tell my children I said that, but absolutely the best thing ever. I've had so much fun. I've learned so much, and I think the thing that I love most about this program, the expectations are just like that of a regular full-time program. There's discussions, there's discussion board posts, there's interaction with the instructors, just like you would have if you were on campus. I love it.
Throughout the spring and most of the summer, Tuttle Creek Lake was at full capacity, causing concern in Manhattan about flooding.
Moving forward, the City of Manhattan has plans to improve the levee system after a season of above-average rainfall pushed levees up to concerning levels. The improvements will be a tag team operation between the City of Manhattan and the Army Corps of Engineering. The plan is to raise the levee a couple feet so it can handle the future needs of the city, even if the Tuttle Creek Lake is at its spilling point. This project will cost roughly $36 million and will protect not only the Northview neighborhood, but the East Side Business District, Aggieville, and all the downtown Manhattan from potential floodwaters. Director of Public Works, Robert Ott, says there's a lot that needs to be done.
Improve the levee both geotechnically in terms of soil stabilization, stabilization berms, relief wells, replacing all the old outlet structures, as well as raising the levee that I'm standing on right now. This location here will go up several feet.
Now we head to Channel 8 reporter Glenn Kinley, who is at Tuttle Creek for a live update. Glenn, what kind of information you got out there for us?
Thanks, Dayton. Tuttle Creek is currently sitting at about 50% capacity, which, although lower than earlier in the year, is still not as low as the Army Corps of Engineers say they would like it. The current plan is to get the water level down to normal by the time winter hits, but this could take months. In the meantime, Manhattan residents are still faced with the potential risk of flooding. To get the water level down, the engineers will have to open the gates which lead to the Big Blue and Kansas rivers. This will put pressure on the current levee system. If this system fails, the water treatment plant could be impacted and even lead to residents and businesses in downtown Manhattan being without water. If you come across flooding, follow the Corps of Engineers motto, which is turn around and don't drown. That's all we have out here at Tuttle Creek. Back to you, Dayton and Bernie.
In order to protect yourself if you encounter a flood, follow the Corps of Engineers motto, turn around and don't drown. That's all I have here at Tuttle Creek. Back to you, Dayton and Bernie. Sorry.
Thanks, Glenn.
During the heavy rains that hit Manhattan this month, some residents lost property to the flash flood. Channel 8 reporter Bailey Matthews has more on one student who lost her car.
Right now I'm here on the Bluemont roundabout where just a couple weeks ago we had a huge flood involving many Manhattan residents losing their cars due to water damage.
And I was driving off, then I turned onto Bluemont and it was just very, very deep, and I drive a Kia Soul, so it wasn't working out very well for me, but I decided to go for it and push on the gas, and I ended up going around the roundabout, and that was the worst part because I ended up getting stuck after my engine turned off completely. And after that, my car started filling up with water, so I had to call for help, and I eventually got my car towed.
For more safety tips over how to drive in inclement weather, I spoke to Officer Stephen Adams for more information.
The biggest thing is being familiar with the streets, and if there's heavy rains and some flooding, if you can't see where you're going or the bottom of the street, it's a good idea not to travel in there, especially if water is flowing.
I just think it's super important for people in Manhattan to be aware of when we can and cannot drive. It's important for us to know which streets are safe and not safe.
In Manhattan, this is Bailey Matthews with Channel 8 News.
Throughout the year, Manhattan will continue to be at risk for flooding conditions.
A new year can mean any number of things for K-State. It means some long-awaited changes are coming to campus. The 55-year-old Derby Dining Center is undergoing a major renovation. The construction project closed off the bottom floors for now, as well as some of the upper-level dining rooms. Some students have to adjust to the limited space, Associate Director of Housing and Dining Services, Skylar Harper, says it's a renovation that's been a long time coming.
We needed to do some work on it to bring it up to date, replacing equipment, those types of things.
Another change coming to K-State campus is the long-awaited construction of the Morris Family Multicultural Student Center. Channel 8 reporter Alan Garrett has more.
Family and diversity are two of the foundations here at Kansas State. With decades of planning and many of meetings, the time has finally come for the Morris Family Multicultural Student Center. We got a chance to speak with Program Coordinator Brandon Clark of the Black Student Union.
It's at least a couple of decades old project in terms of that there have been times where it started, then it has stopped. New administrations have come in, we picked it up, tried to bring it to fruition for a while, then it stopped again. So it's not a recent project. From beginning to end, it's been well over 25, 30 years, I think, from when it first got introduced to where we are now.
Some students are happy that the time is finally here, but others feel like it's a long time coming. We got a chance to speak with BSU President Commander Taylor to see how he feels the Multicultural Student Center will affect campus.
I think it'll be a good thing for Kansas State, especially they pride themselves on diversity and inclusion all the time. This is one step to get into that.
In Manhattan.
The Multicultural Student Center is expected to open in time for classes to start next fall.
Up next, we'll take a look at the weather to see what you should prepare for this weekend.
Later on the show, we will take a look at the annual Alzheimer's Walk hosted in Manhattan.
The best-kept secret in Manhattan is not a secret anymore. I'm Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Wildcats, and welcome to JP Sports Grill. With daily chef-inspired specials, a full bar, and a diverse menu that has something for everyone, this place is guaranteed to impress. JP Sports Grill, your new favorite spot.
We are
a family that does not tolerate discrimination of any kind.
a family that represents a diverse and eclectic population.
We are a family that believes
That diversity, inclusion,
and sportsmanship.
are expectations.
We are a family that is supportive and seeks to promote a positive and welcoming environment.
A family that treats people with respect and dignity.
An empowered family.
Who empowers family.
We are
Family, diverse and together.
Oh, it's been like the best adventure of my life. Best, hands down, don't tell my children I said that, but absolutely the best thing ever. I've had so much fun, I've learned so much, and I think the thing that I love most about this program, the expectations are just like that of a regular full-time program. There's discussions, there's discussion board posts, there's interaction with the instructors, just like you would have if you were on campus. I love it.
It's been pretty warm around Manhattan these last few weeks. Let's head over to weather anchor Bill Bernard to see what we can expect the next couple of days.
All right, thank you. So as we see over here in the upper northeast, it's going to be the mid to low 70s. And as we go on down to Georgia way, it's going to warm up a little bit in the 80s. As we slide on over here and take a look over to the northwest, it's going to be in the higher 60s down on to California where it's the higher 70s, maybe mid 80s, who knows. And we look down in Texas where Tropical Storm Imelda is starting to fizzle out, but it's still going to be in those mid to higher 80s. And then we'll take a look and look at my good friend Humberto, who's just moving past Bermuda, and 80% of the power is actually out. And as we switch on over to the lovely state of Kansas, we see that it's going to be in the mid to higher 90s, with it being warmest actually here in Ness City. And then as we transcend over to the 5-day forecast, we're going to see that it's going to be partly cloudy, with it additionally being sunny and partly cloudy once again all throughout that, it's going to be the upper 80s. And as we move on over to our actual 5-day forecast, we'll give you Friday there. It's going to be the upper 80s, and it's not going to be very pleasant all week, so maybe you just want to hang out inside, watch a little bit of Netflix. Who knows? Could be fun, but that's what we're looking for the 5-day forecast. And as we move on through, if you're looking for a family-friendly activity tonight, Third Thursdays downtown is a great opportunity to enjoy local cuisine and the arts. This is the second year that the event has run, allowing local restaurants, breweries, artists, and musicians to get involved in the community. The event was formed in order to fulfill the requests of community members that said there was a need to have free events that are community-based and celebrate local businesses. Executive Director of Downtown Manhattan, Gina Scroggs, said that it's the city's way of bringing in music and the arts into the community at an entry level.
We would really love to have K-State students be more involved on the artistic and musician side for this event.
This is the last event of the season, so be sure to check it out between 5 and 8 p.m., or you'll have to wait until May. Back to you, Bernie.
Thank you, Bill.
Up next, details on the new renovations happening at K-State sports complexes and the bye week for Wildcats football.
The best-kept secret in Manhattan is not a secret anymore. I'm Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Wildcats, and welcome to JP Sports Grill. With daily chef-inspired specials, a full bar, and a diverse menu that has something for everyone, this place is guaranteed to impress. JP Sports Grill, your new favorite spot.
We are a family that does not tolerate discrimination of any kind.
A family that represents a diverse and eclectic population.
We are a family that believes
that diversity, inclusion,
and sportsmanship
are expectations.
We are a family that is supportive and seeks to promote a positive and welcoming environment.
A family that treats people with respect and dignity.
An empowered family.
Who empowers family.
We are
Family, diverse and together.
Oh, it's been like the best adventure of my life. Best, hands down, don't tell my children I said that, but absolutely the best thing ever. I've had so much fun, I've learned so much, and I think the thing that I love most about this program, the expectations are just like that of a regular full-time program. There's discussions, there's discussion board posts, there's interaction with the instructors, just like you would have if you were on campus. I love it.
K-State University sports facilities are getting an upgrade, and K-State football is looking forward to their upcoming bye week. Channel 8 News Sports Report.
The Little Apple just got a little bigger. The athletic department announced plans for new facilities. The project is called Building Champions. Channel 8 reporter Daisy Hagden rushed in to tackle the story.
Last week, Kansas State's athletic director Gene Taylor unveiled the largest capital project in program history. The $105 million project is a new improvement to the fans and athletes. The project will start with upgrades to the south end zone and Bramlage. It adds new club and suite seatings, an expanded Legends room, 2 video boards, and reformed restrooms and concessions. Along with the south end zone, the project includes a new indoor football facility. Over 1 million cubic feet, the facility will stand tall right here on the east side of Bill Snyder Family Stadium. In his first year as football head coach, Chris Kleiman says the project will benefit current and future Wildcats.
The eye candy, the eyepiece of seeing it will be really cool. It'll generate more revenue, which will benefit the student athletes. From a recruiting standpoint, just to be able to tour guys through there and see another expanded area that's renovated, that's suite type, and I think all that stuff is going to be valuable in the recruiting process.
An Olympic training center and a volleyball arena is also in the project's plans. Athletic director Gene Taylor says it will benefit all athletes and fans.
The new venue is going to have video boards, new sound system, a lot of
fan amenities, air conditioning, and then it'll be both a practice and competition facility. And it'll be 3,500 seats, so if we do qualify for in-state tournaments, we would be able to host in there as well.
The athletic department has already raised $69 million towards the $105 million project. From Manhattan, I'm Daisy Hagedorn, Channel 8 News.
Athletics plans to start construction on the South End Zoo in May 2020 and finish everything by the 2021 season. This current season for K-State has started off with a bang. Kansas State football is 3-0 going into week 4. Their first bye week separates non-conference play from their Big 12 rival Oklahoma State. Head coach Chris Klieman spoke about how this break could benefit his team.
To have it before you get into conference play. You know, I think that's big. You play your non-conference, you learn more about your team, you learn more what you have to do in certain phases of the game.
Back to you, Dayton and Bernie.
K-State will take on Oklahoma the 26th after their week off. This is all we have for sports.
Up next, we will take a peek at the second annual Walk to End Alzheimer's in Manhattan that drew in several visitors from around the community.
Number one, this is Kansas State University. That's a solid name institution that is a research institution. It's land grant. You're not going to get better than what Kansas State is and what Kansas State stands for.
You can actually see it.
Come on, one more.
H1 minus H2 plus V1 squared minus V2 squared all over 2.
Are you ready?
Manhattan's second Walk to End Alzheimer's Walk took place in City Park on Saturday morning. The event raised funds to further care, support, and research efforts of the Alzheimer's Association. Most of those who have walked have a connection to the disease in one way or another.
Well, that's all we have for you today. Tune in next week for a look at K-State football's changing traditions in the new era of coaching, an update on Green Apple bikes, and some tips for staying safe while walking along Manhattan streets.
See you next week.
This is Channel 8 News.